Well, hello and welcome to our inaugural vlog of Numbers Are Your Friends. This is the vlog where you are going to get introduced to numbers each and every day that make sense to you, that will sometimes cause you to laugh, might cause you to cry, but hopefully no matter what they do, they will also be very important in your life. So, my name is Mitchell Walker and I'm your host. And what we're going to be talking about today, obviously, is going to be a little bit on the dark side of numbers because we got the coronavirus going on. Today is March the 23rd. All the numbers I give you will be effective as of today, so to speak, which timing of numbers is another really important thing about numbers. And let me say one more thing about why we named the site, the vlog, what we named it. And that's because when we say that numbers are your friends, we believe that. Because there's something about a good number and a good friend, because they both will always tell you the truth, no matter what the outcome is. Alright? So we learn to trust some numbers, we learn to trust some friends, but we also do what Reagan says, we trust but verify to make sure those numbers are right. So let's go ahead and jump in here and we're going to look at 5 numbers today. And the first number is a really small number. I'm going to hold this right in front of my face because the numbers are actually the star of this show. So, this number is 000127 with the decimal point in the first place right there. So it's 0.000127. That number is the amount of infections of coronavirus that we have in the United States today compared to the entire population. That's right, that's a really small number. And I'm giving you this number because I want you to have perspective on what is going on, okay? Not a panic, it is concern. Is it real? Yes, it's a real number. This number was derived by dividing the 40,166 cases that we had as of noon today on March the 23rd by the population of the United States, which is 329,700 and some odd people, okay? I'm sorry, 329,750,000 plus people, okay? So that gives us that number. What does this number equate to in reality? This number right here tells us that basically 1 out of 8,000 people in the United States as of today has tested positive for the coronavirus. So that means you look out there in your neighborhood, only 1 out of 8,000 people have tested positive for it. Does that mean that's all that's out there? No, but this is a real number that we can take based on the testing that we have available as of today to tell us how many are out there. The obvious question is, how bad could it get? Okay? That's going to take a little bit of, I don't want to call it creative, but it is going to take some thinking. Because numbers aren't just like friends, okay? You have some friends that are really good at holding your hands when you're down, when you feel bad, when you need someone to bump you up. But you might not go back to that same person if you needed help with, say, fixing your car. So, numbers have an application that fits them. And one thing we want to do with this number today that we're looking at is we want to say, how bad could it possibly get? Well, the gold standard would be what's called a double-blind test, where the people being tested don't know they're being tested. The people that are testing them don't know which ones are testing them, which ones are exposed, which ones are not exposed. Because ideally, you would take, say, 3,500 people and put them in some kind of environment where they can't get away, and you would inoculate some of them or expose some of them to the virus and see how many of them got it. And then you would have an infection rate number. You would have them where they couldn't get away, where they had to eat together, where they had to play together, where they had to sleep together, where they went to movies, they danced, they played games, they sat around and visited. So they lived their life in normal circumstances, but they were within this experiment. The problem with this experiment is that would be totally immoral for us to do that. right? I mean, we can't take a bunch of people and just expose them to something that could and will kill some of them, and under any moral circumstances could we do that, right? You following me? Right, okay? But here's the weird thing is, that was actually done. Now, it wasn't done on purpose, but it was done. It was done over a 24-day period of time on something called the Cruise of the Diamond Princess. That's right, a cruise ship named the Diamond Princess left, I think Singapore or somewhere in the South China Sea, maybe Thailand, and made a stop in Hong Kong and dropped a passenger off, and he was sick. He was not feeling well. He got tested, and he turned out to be positive for the coronavirus. He'd had it for at least 4 days, they're sure, maybe as long as 7 or more. They don't know for sure how long he had it, but for 4 to 7 days, that person was exposing everybody on the boat. From Hong Kong, the Diamond Princess then sailed to Japan, and over those 4 days, the rest of the people, or 5 days, the rest of the people just partied like there was no tomorrow because they weren't worried about that. They shared utensils on the buffet lines and the salt and pepper shakers at the table. They sat next to each other at magic shows. The night before they put them into quarantine, a great number of them participated in the dance contest. That's one of the crowning events of the cruise. Art auctions, all crammed together. They lived a normal life, okay? So we have this experiment. And even after they decided to quarantine the ship, to be honest, the medical care was pitiful. They didn't know what they were dealing with. They didn't know how to stop it, what it was. They didn't have a system set up for feeding people without exposing them to the handlers of the food, or the crew was sleeping all together in the same rooms. You know, so it was this massive petri dish experiment on the coronavirus, okay? So, that's how many people in the United States. 1 out of 8,000. What happened on that ship, the Diamond Princess, how many of those people got affected? 0.192. Now, that's considerably more. It's not 1 out of 8,000. It's not even 1 out of 800. What it is 1 out of 5. But that too could be a comforting number, because just driving out here to my home today, I was listening to a radio station out of Dallas, and they were doing projections, and one of the call-in people asked, well, how many people in the United States you get infected? And without missing a beat, this guy says all of us are going to get infected. Well, that's not what an experiment shows. That experiment shows that basically 1 out of 5 of us is going to get infected. Now, I'm sharing these numbers with you. You can go do more research. You can go check it out. But this is a very comforting number if only 20% of us even contract the virus. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm going to say that's what happened in one particular case that looks like to me as though it was a valid test. So, now, here's our next number. We're going to give you 4 or 5 of these numbers every day, and I'm going to give you my take on each one of them. This is one of my favorite numbers. This is the number 3. You're going, well, that's kind of an odd number to be showing me after the really, really small decimal points. But we're going to get larger before we get smaller again. But the number 3. Number 3, to me, stands so importantly for the number of months of living expenses you need to have saved up, okay? If you had gotten 3 months of living expenses saved up, if you had these 3 months of living expenses saved up, these first 2 numbers that I showed you would not be impacting you near as deeply and as harshly as they are right now. So, we can change the impact of numbers in our lives by taking care of the good ones. What is 3 months of living expenses? What does it actually take you to live each month? If it's $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $10,000, $1,000. Determine that number, set your goals up to save it, and when this thing is over, you get you 3 months of living expenses saved up, because these things are not once in a lifetime events. They come around on a regular basis, I'll promise you that. I'm 64 right now. I should have put that number up here, shouldn't I? I forgot about that. That's a great number too. And I've seen these crashes before. I've seen these problems before. I haven't seen a quarantine like this because we'll talk about numbers about that later, and I won't tell you why on that right now. But that's a big number. Number 3, if you had those 3 months of expenses saved up, these other numbers kind of become something that you can deal with better. Okay? So here's our next number. Our next number is 400. Okay? And this is our dumb number of the day. Every day we're going to have a dumb number, and I'll tell you why 400 made the dumb number of the day today. And this may be a rumor, it probably is a rumor, but it's still really good. Apparently some younger person who was diagnosed with the coronavirus responded to the physician that was testing him when he got the test back that I don't understand how this could be possible because I've got over 400 rolls of toilet paper at my house. So, the dumb number of the day. Okay? Now, we come to the really good, the important number of the day, the takeaway number of the day. This is the number 6. You've been hearing a lot about 6, and I want to make it very, very simple for you. If you don't stay 6 feet away, you may end up 6 feet under. And I don't want that to happen to you. Okay? Stay 6 feet away so you don't end up 6 feet under. Last number I'm going to share with you is 217. That's how much I weighed this morning. Not bad for somebody that's 6'4", right? Okay, have a great day.